Hello, so welcome to this video for Game Design and Development at the University of Southampton. My name's Dave Millard, I'm one of the lecturers on the course and I'm here with...
I'm Tom Blount, I'm also a course lecturer.
So we're going to look at a couple of games from the first coursework. Tom, do you want to say a little bit about what we asked the students to do?
Absolutely. So for this coursework, we asked each of our groups of students to make a small game prototype that had a strong core dynamic and a means of tutorialising that to the player.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to have a look at our first game, which I think is called Delivery Rush. So here we go. Aha! So I haven't got any sound, but I've got a little bobbing car. I've got some roads. Head to base.
Head to base. The yellow zone.
For your first
Is that
job.
the yellow zone on the screen there?
Let's hope so. Use WASD to move. The glowing boxes give extra score and time. That thing next to me wasn't a glowing box, was it?
I think that was just a normal box.
That's a glowing box. Ugh, crikey.
But
Moses.
why are we picking up boxes? Because we haven't gone to the yellow zone for our first job.
That's for your first job. Oh, 113 score 2000. So it looks like that started something. Wait, do I get a score for picking up boxes? Yeah, the non-glowing boxes are worth 500. The glowing boxes are worth... Oh my goodness.
And they also give you time, I think.
There's a box. They do. Have I finished, do you think? To complete.
Yeah.
Return for your next job.
Oh, but the timer's still going.
Ah.
Now you've got to get 7 boxes.
Boxes. And the timer has reset. There's a kind of... Is that a bin I'm knocking around? Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Oh my life. The controls are kind of fun, but also completely insane. It feels nothing at all like a car, I'll be honest.
More like a rocket-powered...
Yeah. Alright.
I'm not sure what.
7 boxes. Alright, so every time I'm... It's not resetting the timer. Do you think it's adding to it?
Well, I think you get extra time when you get a glowing box. Maybe you get extra time when you get back home as well.
Get the box.
I can't really tell.
Return to your next job. Oh, I got stuck. I'm stuck.
You're stuck.
I'm stuck. Yeah, we have a choice here. We can either wait for 2 minutes and see what happens, or I can quit. I think I'll quit.
Let's close and open it.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. So we'll reopen it again. Here we go. Right. So
okay. So I think we've seen like the core of the primary gameplay loop, if you like. So shall we just jump straight into the mark scheme?
I think so. Let's do it.
So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the overall quality of the game, and we're going to start that off by looking at the presentation. So the consistency of the graphics, the use of audio, and information design.
Okay. So graphics are they're fine. They're kind of consistent and
a cute little pixely.
Yeah, I think it's done works quite well.
Information design. So the glowing boxes are very obviously different from the others.
Yeah. Although, so the information design is. So you're right that they are different from the others. So we think they add time. Is that right? The glowing boxes.
I think it said that in the bottom left, although I don't remember it now.
Let's find out. So collect 0 out of 4 boxes.
And your time does go up when you go back in the yellow zone.
Yeah. So is there a glow? Right. So what's the time? So we're on 1, 6, 4, 3. Yeah. So that's.
Yeah.
So I think, and actually the thing we haven't talked about is audio because there isn't anything.
That's a bit of a shame.
So there's nothing at all. There's no sound effects. No music. So part of that is part of this issue with information design because there's very little feedback. So you don't really know what's going on. So when you pick up a glowing box, it's not clear that the timer is going up. The timer is kind of stuck out of your peripheral vision, out of the way. When you collect a normal box, there's no kind of thing which tells you where you are, and most importantly here, there's nothing to indicate that has triggered So just a noise would make a massive difference to go, yep, you've triggered, off you go, you can get more boxes. Yeah. And it's the kind of thing where yeah, it is. And I think just to kind of, even if they've done a little voice recording of themselves going, collect 5 boxes.
Bing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, bing. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So yeah, so I think graphics is perfectly pleasant and good. Audio is completely absent. Information design's a bit lacking.
So this kind of puts us in a tricky position. So a satisfactory on our criteria is key information is shown, consistent graphics, and some audio.
Yeah. So I think the graphics are consistent. That's fine.
Yep.
But the audio is probably more like down at a pass or even a poor for, I guess, for a complete lack of audio.
Well, a pass would be poorly chosen audio.
So it's even below than that.
Yeah. Similarly, so to get a good, for example, we'd need key information being shown clearly, and again, sort of tied into the information design. It's not obvious when certain things have happened, so they're all on the screen.
Yeah.
But it's never really sort of directly signalled to the player.
No, I mean, I don't think information design's a disaster. It's just kind of
it's like all the key information is shown, just not perhaps as clearly as it could be.
So.
But that said, the graphics are really nice. They're like cute, consistent. Like it's obvious, like what the boxes are.
So it kind of feels like the graphics are probably good. The information design is maybe touching on satisfactory. And the audio is absent. So on average, that probably puts us. Probably, just south of satisfactory, I would say.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. I think so. It really just sort of shows what a difference, just like even if the only thing they'd had was just like a looping music track in the background that had a nice fast beat and really emphasized that you're on the clock. That would just make an outstanding difference by itself.
Yeah, it really would.
So the overall gameplay, so the mechanics and the controls and things like that. So how does it control, Dave?
So it's I think I said it's kind of it's a bit mad, but it's actually quite fun to control. Right? It feels kind of. It just doesn't feel like a car, but it's definitely quite fun. There's this thing you can knock around over here. That's actually quite fun as well. I wish there was more stuff like that.
Like those sort of mailboxes or traffic lights or whatever, just stuff to career into.
Yeah, and kind of maybe with some consequences or something. So so the controls are a bit skittish. So if I just tap the button, it kind of slides quite a lot. But good.
So again, sort of looking at our marked criteria, a satisfactory would be a set of mechanics, usable controls, leading to some meaningful play.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's a bit simple, but it's probably.
I was going to say, like the set of the mechanics, like they have.
That's probably the problem.
They've got collecting boxes. They've got the special boxes. They've got the timer. They've got the score, and they've got the sort of job system, if you like.
Yes. So there's just about stuff happening. It is the work. It's the work of a single person, isn't it? This one. So
I believe so. Yes. So in which case, we sort of take that into account when we're looking at the overall complexity of it.
So I think probably based on that, we should. Yeah, we can let them get away with what they have in terms of the complexity.
Okay, so for the sake of argument, then a good criteria, or the criteria that something would need to meet to be good, is a set of complementary mechanics, smooth and usable controls, leading to meaningful play.
I don't think it's quite there. I wouldn't say the controls are smooth, and the mechanics, aren't quite gelling together. But it's almost there.
Okay, so would you say around a satisfactory?
I think so. I think so. And we sort of forgive the slight lack of mechanics because it is the work of a single person, and obviously that means they've got less time to put into it.
Okay, and sort of, I guess, on a similar note, sort of bugs and complexity. So I guess we've already seen a bit of a bug where you got stuck on the geometry of the level.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, other than that, it seems to be working. All the boxes are going. The timer's fine. All the boundary stuff is working all right. So yeah, I don't think there's any major things. So that maybe the issue here again is complexity, which we'd have to forgive a little bit, I think. So
so a satisfactory, for example, would be the game is playable, is reasonably complex, but there are infrequent serious bugs and/or frequent minor bugs.
So the problem here is we've got infrequent minor bugs, so it's probably better than that.
I would say getting stuck and not being able to progress is a serious bug.
Okay, that's probably true.
Like if we had to quit out and restart the game.
Yeah, that's true. But even so, I think the main problem is the complexity more than anything else. And I said if we're being a bit more forgiving with that. But yeah, okay. So I mean, I think it's certainly satisfactory. I think there's no doubt that it's at the satisfactory level.
Okay. All right. In which case, we'll move on to sort of talk about how this game met the brief that we set in terms of level design and tutorials. So for level design, we're looking at again how the design of the level sort of emphasizes the mechanics they've used, the pacing, and any sort of goals, risks, and rewards that are present.
Yeah. Okay. So pacing is interesting. I'm getting these objectives complete. My time's going up. It's not really challenging me, but also it doesn't seem to be. The boxes don't seem to be kind of. It's not getting harder, right?
I was going to say, if anything, it's getting easier. So previously you had to collect 7 boxes, and now you just have to collect 4.
It seems to be,
and you've accumulated so much time.
It's quite a random number. So sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 4. I think I've got 5 to do now, and also it's not quite clear when it's the green boxes or not. So yeah, I think the pacing.
That's kind of
it is. The pacing is kind of peculiar. You'd have thought that they'd done something very basic, like start with collecting 1 box, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Even if you went like that, kind of just randomly putting them into position. So yeah, that's an odd choice. I think pacing is quite off. In terms of demonstrating the mechanics, I kind of feel that there's not a lot to demonstrate, and that's probably the problem here as well.
And similarly, the sort of goals, risks, and rewards. Like, you could make the argument that it's... So I'm assuming when you start a job, all of the boxes just sort of appear.
They do.
And how many... Are there exactly 5? Can we just have a quick look if...
Yes, there are exactly 5. Yeah.
So I was going to say,
there's no...
Like, a really simple change to make there would be just, have, I don't know, 5 normal boxes and 1 glowing box. So do you spend the extra time to specifically look for the glowing box, or do you just?
Yeah, because it feels like that's where they were heading. Because otherwise, why have the glowing boxes? I mean, they give you extra points, but they don't do anything with them. So I think the lack of risk and reward is a real problem. So there's I think this is quite problematic actually. So what would be the kind of pass level?
So pass would be level design that demonstrates some of the mechanics, but poorly balanced or paced, and with a lack of clarity over goals, risks, and rewards.
So I think that's true for the pacing and the goals, risks, and rewards. I think it does demonstrate the mechanics, but there's very, very few of them. So I think it probably is a pass level, I think, for...
I think I agree with that. So a poor, for example, would be poor level design does not demonstrate the mechanics adequately. And I think it's better than that. So I think it probably does hit the pass level. It's just, as you say, there's a bit of a lack of mechanics to demonstrate.
Yes.
But again, we're going to be understanding of that.
Ooh, try not to get stuck.
Okay, so this one, again, might be kind of tricky. So the tutorial design.
Yeah, so shall I restart to remind us what the tutorial is like?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I've sort of forgotten.
I think the tutorial is just 3 lines of text in the bottom left.
Yes, I think you're probably right. Here we go. Head to base, yellow zone, use WAS to move, glowing boxes give extra store and time. So, I mean, it kind of, again, it does the job, but it's not integrated into the level, it's just an information dump.
And kind of similar to the pacing, right? It's like once you move into that yellow zone, you're now just in the game. It's not a case of it leads you through it, sort of like, you know, like you say, one box, then two boxes, and so on. It's just from then on, there's...
So if we were to improve this without adding any new kind of mechanics or coding, I think what we would have done is extended this level a little bit so there was some space that was further away. Had a tutorial which gave you one box that was right next to the yellow zone to get, and then the next point would be to give you maybe 3 or 4 boxes that were much further away to get, and then something that told you about the green box and gave you the choice of going to get it far away or getting the 3 easy nearby boxes, right? And that solves a lot of your problems straight away. You've got choice. You've got a tutorial which is then taking you through that choice and explaining it to you. So yeah, I think there were a couple of sort of simple changes that would have improved things quite considerably. So again, what would a pass be for the tutorial?
So a pass would be a tutorial that communicates some goals, risks, rewards, and that introduces some information and mechanics in a logical way. And I'm not 100% sure it actually meets that.
No. What's the one below? The poor.
So that would be poor, and that would be a tutorial that communicates some goals, risks, rewards, and that introduces some information and mechanics.
Yeah.
And so hypothetically, the criteria for an absent would be almost no serious attempt at a tutorial element.
Yeah.
And it's very close to being that. It's 3 lines of text. It's not.
Well, it is as you said, it kind of then does go into the level. You know, once that clears, you get the level objective and you go to the next thing. But you're right, there is almost nothing here.
I would be tempted to say this is a poor, or even perhaps just below.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think completely absent is not quite fair because of the efforts they've made. So probably go for between poor and pass.
Between poor and pass? Okie dokie.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so moving on. We're looking at the design elements, so the core dynamics, so what they think the fun part of their game is, if you like, and how their mechanics support that. So with their game, they submitted a very short report talking about what their core dynamic was.
Yep.
So what do you think the core dynamic they've said is?
I'm guessing collection. It's kind of
close. So they've said the game is chase or evade with some collection elements.
Yeah, it's not really chase. You're not being chased or chasing anything,
and you're not
evading anything. So the reason I hesitated was because it also has a survival element, because those boxes timer up.
I would say it's actually closer to being survival, because you've got this limited resource, the time, if you like, that's sort of constantly ticking down. Yeah. You need to keep doing these things to keep bumping it up, and your score is basically directly tied to how long you can survive.
Yeah.
So you're not collecting these boxes because collecting them is fun. You're collecting them to survive a bit longer.
Yeah. Although you also have a score which is based on the boxes you collect, as opposed to how long you actually. So I think this is one of the problems, because actually this game doesn't have a core dynamic. I think it has a couple of different elements. So you could have gone with collection if you'd made the score the focus, and you're collecting different things, and you have to make choices about what to collect in order to maximize your score, and you have to manage the clock while you're doing it, right? Then that becomes collection. Whereas if you've gone for time is very limited, you're desperately trying to survive, you don't really have a score, but the whole point of the boxes is to try and give you a boost to the clock, and you maybe the different types of boxes give you different boosts or something. Then it's much more of a survival game. So at the moment, I would say it's sitting in between a couple of different things.
So again, that sort of puts us in a tricky position, because a pass on the mark scheme would be a core dynamic that is not well supported by the mechanics or audiovisual choices.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mark scheme is talking about where they're in conflict, right? But I think at the same time that's kind of what's happening here. Is we've got mechanics that are in conflict, and means that we don't know what the core dynamic actually is.
Yeah. So again, sort of hypothetically, an absent would be no serious attempt at developing a core dynamic, and I don't think that's fair. I think they've clearly made an attempt at developing it.
Yeah.
But as you say, some of the different sort of mechanics and different, I guess, the way that's revealed in terms of the information design make it unclear.
Yeah, I think that's true. So
a poor, for example, on the mark scheme would be the mechanics and or audio-visual choices detract from the attempted core dynamic.
Yeah. So the problem is here is I don't think that's right. They are in conflict with one another, so it's not clear. So that feels the first one you read out, I think, was satisfactory, wasn't it? Or
first one was pass.
Pass, yeah, okay. So yeah, that feels right.
Again, it's partly a question of scale, and we're trying to be allowing for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last element is the feedback.
Yep.
So we gave all of the groups some feedback, asked them to sort of incorporate that into their game. So they said their feedback was that there was a lack of meaningful choice in the game. So going back to that sort of gameplay aspect, I guess. So in response, they added the optional pickup that spawns alongside normal collectibles that rewards extra time and score, but is typically further away from the... So that's interesting, because I thought we looked at that, and...
So here we go. I've got to get 6 boxes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is the other one gone? Have I missed it? I've collected... Oh, it's odd.
So perhaps there's just not a glowing one in this level.
There wasn't. No. Let's try again.
Let's try again.
So now 6 boxes. There's none up there. Again, no glowing ones in this level either. Typical.
Yes, no, there is. There's one in the top. There's one in the top left.
2.
Left.
Yeah. 3, 4, 5. Objective complete, and there's 1 box left.
Okay, so one of those.
They did. So the problem then, I think, is actually not the design problem necessarily. It's the balance problem. It's because they've given us way too much time, and the level
way too small a level. Right?
So
they do say that they try and put the glowing box far away from all the others, but given that the level is quite small, and
you've got so much time,
negligibly different. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So there's a couple of things there. So first of all, I think the criteria where we talked about choices. I don't know whether this is enough to up it, because although they've tried to do it, they've not done it successfully. Right? So I think probably the criteria stands. And as far as the feedback concerned, that means they've articulated the feedback and understood it, but they just haven't managed to realise it in the game.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that they've made that change is a successful change, but they've not done enough to sort of fix the issues that were being talked about.
Yes.
So a good, for example, in this case would be feedback was articulated, reasonable changes have been successfully made.
Yeah, I don't know whether you'd say... I would say you've got partial success, which I think is satisfactory.
Okay, so that would be a satisfactory.
Yeah, that feels right to me. They've kind of it's partially succeeded. They've done what they set out to do, but it's not been enough to solve the problem.
Fair enough.
I think that's reasonable. Okay, shall we move on?
Okay, shall we move on to TM?
Let's do it. Okay, so our next game is called Whiz. Oh.
And this game was made by a single person, so we'll bear that in mind as we're going through the criteria.
So they've already made a very nice selection of music. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit so we can talk properly over the top of it. Okay. So yeah, that's really nice. I'm using WASD and I can move left and right, which is always quite fun on the.
I was going to. Is that you moving around the title screen? That's really nice.
Oh, I can jump as well. So it hasn't told me the controls yet, but what happens if I jump in there? Oh! Ah! Do you think this might be a game with portals?
I think it might be. It's really cute that you can do that on the title screen.
That's cute, yeah. Let's go for it. New game. Press D to move right. Reach the gold zone to advance. Press A to move left. Okay.
Okay, already
plop.
A slight gripe with their tutorial is that whole right side of the screen is taken up with information that we don't understand yet and isn't needed yet.
No. Oh, you're right. Completely. Also, I move very slowly. Press space to jump. I mean, maybe they just thought Dave's so bad at this that we have to make it really. Oh my! No. I clipped through that. I clipped through that platform. Then there we go. Yeah, I will
say one of the bits of feedback they submitted with this was it was suggested that they reduce the difficulty of platforming.
Yeah. So if you look, you can see that the character is falling through the platforms. So like there, look. See?
Oh, so your collider is a lot smaller. My
collider is a lot smaller, or the platform collider is. That, and also look, so I can also walk quite far out here. So to actually make this jump, I have to walk halfway over the lava and then jump.
That's because it looks like your collider is sort of like just on the back half of your character, which means when you make that jump, can you like turn around in midair? Will that put your collider on the correct spot?
Yeah, it's very so. Yeah, I think you'll get used to it, but it's not natural at all. And
that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, and there, for example, I kind of. All right, let's see how we go. So yeah, okay. I think in general, be forgiving with your colliders. You know, make as you are seeing. I'm going to try my best to remember to jump really, really late. But then you see, I hit the jump.
Yeah.
Didn't jump. Don't know why. Probably had already started falling.
It's also kind of odd that your goal is just a big yellow square, right? Like it feels like it'd be quite easy to make it, just a sprite of a trophy or something.
I've got to be honest. At the moment,
artifact.
It's a goal that feels very far away.
Well, on the bright side, they've included a level selector, so if worst comes to the worst, there you go. You got the hang of it now.
Oh my life! Sometimes Wiz can't judge far enough. You're not kidding. Select a purple portal from the right-hand side of the screen by clicking it. Okay. Okay, so it's disabled WASD, by the way. I can't do anything. So if I click the portal, once portal is selected, you must place it in a green zone. First is position. Oh, there we go. Second click rotation. Okay, so I can do that.
Interesting. Fair enough.
So I put that there. Oh, when two boards of the same colour have been placed, they become connected. Oh, I see. So I do this, presumably. I'm not sure which way is front. Oh, that must be. Yeah, it could have. Maybe front and back might have been a bit easier to. Wiz can move again. All right. So now, what's going to happen now is I'm going to.
I was going to say what happens when you immediately fall into the lava? Are you going to have to do that again?
Yes.
That's a shame.
This is going to take a while. Oh
Okey-doke.
My god. Oh, it's quite painful. All right. No.
I'd put that in the middle of the platform just in case.
Yeah.
If you step through that and immediately just plummet into the lava.
Oh. It's the fact that it freezes you as well. So I can't even try and place the portals first. Walk to the portals first. I have to place the portals before I'm allowed to fall into the lava. Reset everything. Right, here we go. Yeah, come on. Now, I don't know if you can make that. That looks really hard. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Ah, and he came out the right way. Oh, did it.
Oh, I thought you were not going to make that.
I know. Misplaced a portal, press R to restart. Wiz maintains momentum when passing portals, so make sure to aim them carefully. Okay, alright, so it won't actually let me move again, but it hasn't... So I presume what it wants me to do is to place one down here, like that.
Yep.
Okay, and then it wants me to place one over here, so but the other way around.
That'll fire you
me upwards.
This is going to fire you straight into the lava, isn't it?
So I need to maybe tilt it slightly. Okay. Press E to toggle red portals.
Why?
Okay, I don't quite understand why they've made me do that now, but that's... Right,
That feels like
I'm going to fall, right? This can't be too hard, right? Yeah! And I can move in the air, which is good. So if I press E to toggle the... Why bother with that? That seems odd.
That feels like a mechanic that could definitely be used to set up some interesting puzzles later. So you've got to fling yourself through where a portal would be and like deactivate it and activate it at the right moment.
So maybe we do this now. So I've got 2 red portals. So I can place... that's why, yeah. So I've got to place it here. So I fall into this one.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I place this one here, that way.
There we go.
And then I deactivate the portal to walk through it.
So I feel like this is maybe where they should have introduced that. But, okay, fine.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree. It kind of makes no sense in the previous level. Here, yay! And actually, that's quite a nice introduction.
Yeah,
collect the keys
I really like that.
in the correct order to unlock the orange door.
How do we know what the correct order is?
Or I presume these were orange things to the keys?
Yes.
So, really? Boss?
I'm guessing, so there's one directly above it.
Well,
okay. So, here's what I suggest.
I was assuming it would just be this.
Yeah, but there's another key above it.
There is. Oh, and I've got 2 purple portals. I didn't have those before, did I?
You didn't in the last level.
I don't think I had them here. So if I press,
I think you did.
Oh, I did. Oh, okay, I've got. Okay, I didn't spot them. That's why. So all right. So what I need to do is
purple above the lava.
Purple above the lava, and then above the second key.
And then a red one.
In between. Okay, I quite like these puzzles. I mean,
Yeah, that's actually kind of nice. I like that as a...
So click on this one, and we want one here. I think that's right around, and then there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Looks good to me. So I can toggle them off. So what's nice about this is I now actually... The previous one, the timing of the toggle didn't matter, but now now it does. So that's cute. Although now what's going to happen is I'm going to have balls up the jump. Here we go.
Hey.
Oh, there
nice.
we go. That actually happened a lot faster than I was expecting, so I was lucky I made it. Okay, so I've got to place the portals before I can move. There's the key. Right, okay, so when I get the key, that will open and drop me. So I place one to catch me, presumably?
And then one to fling you back out, I think. Because they can only go in that green zone, right?
You're right. So do like that, and then one...
Like a 45-degree angle, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like it. And is that the right way around?
Who knows?
But then I just want them active, don't I?
I think so.
Okay, here we go.
Or is this just going to slam you face first into a wall above a pit of lava?
We'll find out. Yes.
Yes.
That was a mighty face plant. That was great.
Alright, maybe just straight up then, and you rely on being able to move in midair.
Yeah, so if I place this one down the bottom, that's momentum, and this one at the top, like that.
Okay, so I will wager that we've seen enough of the sort of primary gameplay loop of this that we can start talking about the mark scheme.
I think also it's a measure of how nice the game is, actually, that Oh dear.
That's fine.
Bad.
Building up momentum. There you go.
No, but it keeps coming out the wrong way. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we can. What I was about to say was we're also. I'm going to angle this slightly actually like that. I think we're also kind of getting quite involved in it. So that's always a good sign. If you're too busy playing the game to actually discuss kind of like how good it is, that's a good sign, right? So blue portals disappear after one trip. So this looks to me like it's the final mechanic, right? So use them wisely. Okay,
so first things first, presentation. So the information design, the graphics, the audio, that kind of thing. So you already mentioned the audio.
Yeah, it's nice background. There's not too much sound effects, but there's just a little boop when you go through a portal.
I'd be disappointed if there wasn't like some sort of noise when you went through them.
Yeah.
Okay, so otherwise, like the graphics, more or less look kind of nice. So like the walls and floors and the wizard and the background all go kind of nicely.
Yeah.
The portal zones being just sort of green blobs, yeah, fine, all right. The doors and the end zone, I feel like maybe they could have found a nice pixely sprite or something for those. So that's like a bit of a shame, but it doesn't detract from it too much.
Yes. So I think the music and the music is the graphics, like you said, a little bit inconsistent, but okay. Music a little bit sparse, but what they've got is nice. Information, I mean, there's only really the portal. The UI is the portal things that works well.
It's also a case of like the lava is very obvious. Which bit is a door is very obvious.
Yeah. So and the portals, and it's I would say I still would like to have a slightly better idea of the direction of the portal.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was going to say about them as well.
But other than that, so it feels like it's probably at the good level, because all of those things don't really detract from that, but they probably stop it being any higher.
So a good would be key information is shown clearly. Graphics are consistent and there's appropriate use of audio.
Yeah, it feels right to me.
So the next step is the overall gameplay. So how are those controls?
Oh, I think I might have... they're okay. Sorry, this is one of those things where I'm trying to solve the puzzle with my brain and therefore unable to talk. The controls are good. He's a bit slow. The platforming and the collider box is a pain, but it's not that much of a problem because that's not the main purpose of the game, right? If this was a platformer, it would be a disaster. But because it's a puzzle game, you kind of get away with it.
Alright, so looking at the mark scheme again, a good would be a set of complementary mechanics, smooth and usable controls, leading to meaningful play.
Yes.
And certainly looks like it.
I think so.
I like that there's a bunch of different types of portal. That seems really nice.
Yeah. Yes, that's nice, and that those mechanics, and they work really well.
And you have to use each of them, like, to navigate each puzzle. That's
and so they've introduced these blue ones, and I think it's kind of working.
Yeah,
so let's find out if this works.
Waiting with bated breath. Hey, there you go. So do we think good? Do we think maybe a smidge above good? Excellent would be a wide set of complementary mechanics, intuitive and smooth usable controls, leading to enjoyable and meaningful play.
So for me, it's kind of the sum is almost like great. It's greater than the sum of its parts, right? So it feels so that the meaningful play, it definitely has meaningful play. I'm sat here, I'm engaged with it, I'm thinking about it, I'm playing it properly. So for that aspect is definitely the excellent level. It might be, the mechanics I think are complementary and work together as well. It's slightly let down by the controls, maybe.
That's what I was thinking. So Perhaps
so maybe
halfway between good and excellent.
Halfway between the two. Yeah, let's go for it.
And lastly, for the presentation aspect of things, bugs and complexity. So it's definitely a reasonably complex game.
Yes. I don't think we've seen any bugs.
I haven't noticed any.
No. I'm just trying to think how on earth I'm supposed to do this. But yeah. Yeah. No. So I think excellent. I think it's bug free,
so just
complex.
Yeah. Okay. So the next step is how well it fulfills the brief. So the level design and how it tutorializes it. I mean, looking at the levels and the way it uses each of the different mechanics in different combinations, to me it looks really good.
Yeah, I would say that. So we were looking at level design first. So I think so. I think the way that it combines the mechanics together to produce the kind of interesting puzzles is really good, actually. Really well thought through.
The one thing that I'm not sure it hits super well on the mark scheme is the risk and reward side of things.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
So this is something that often comes up in sort of puzzle games like this, because the goal is just get to the end of the level, and there's usually sort of one clear route or solution to doing that.
Yeah.
So often it's how would you add that risk and reward? And my go-to answer for it, at least, is, I don't know, like stars or collectibles or something like that. So if there's a bunch of extra stars on the map, it's a case of, do I use an extra portal to try and get to that star, or do I just get to the end of the level, kind of thing?
Precisely. So the problem is because the only objective it's the lack of objectives more than anything else, isn't it? Because my only objective is to get to the end. There's no choices to be made. Which is
which is absolutely fine. Like in like a game like Portal, for example. Like I've got to draw a comparison between this and Portal. Like Portal just has that get to the end of the thing, but given that we've specifically asked them to demonstrate this, it would have been nice to see it. Yes,
yeah, it's true. I'm completely lost here. I'm just going to stick. Also, I wish you could go without having to put down all the portals, because I want to plan out some of my levels.
And then see where you end up. Yeah.
And see where I end up. So, I want to see whether my little thing here kind of works. Oops. No, that's not. I was trying to jump up. I can't get that. How do I get that?
Yeah. How are you going to get the momentum to?
How do I get up there? That's why I was wondering.
Hang on. I've got it.
Jump between two portals and build lots of space, and then
put a purple one next to you and one above it, and then a red one in the middle.
Yeah, and then build up momentum. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a little platform or something, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of, it feels. Right, is that
the
right?
trick is where you're going to place the blue ones so that you can then get to the top.
So red one.
Because that gets you those, but okay. Anyway,
blue one goes here, and then
and then just there.
Up that way.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
All right, let's see if that works, and then we'll carry on.
Right. So if I jump through. Right, here we go.
Just catapults you into the stratosphere.
Yay!
It worked though. Look at that.
And we succeeded and won the game. See, so this is what I mean about playability, right? I mean, really, really playable. And deeply satisfying to solve that last problem. Very good. Anyway, so where were we?
So level design. So a good would be sensible level design, demonstrating a number of mechanics with good pacing and clear goals, risks, and rewards.
So the goals, risks, and rewards is apart from goals, risks, and rewards. So looking at the goals, risks, and rewards, if you go down, how far down do you have to get before you get to the kind of the fact that it's not quite clear what the goals, risks, and rewards are?
So satisfactory would be some goals, risks, and rewards, and a pass would be lack of clarity over the goals, risks, and rewards. So it's always clear what we're trying to do. There is a goal, and the goal is get to the end thing.
Yeah. So it's probably at the sort of, it's a bit higher than that, maybe at the satisfactory level if you were being generous.
I think the construction of the different levels and the way it utilises the mechanics they've set up. I think all the other aspects of that.
Yeah. I was just talking about that one bit.
Oh, right.
So
gotcha.
so that feels to me like it's down at the sort of pass, maybe satisfactory level. But you're right. The rest of it is probably. I mean, I was going to ask you what excellent was.
Yeah, so excellent would be sophisticated level design, demonstrating a wide range of mechanics with good varied pacing and balanced goals, risks, and rewards.
So if you forget the goals, risks, rewards, I think it hits those.
Yeah.
So I have, my feeling is that one element is down at the pass satisfactory, the other one is up at the other two up at the excellent. So probably overall it might be good, or
I think so.
Slightly above good.
I would say bang on good is where I would put this.
Okay. Let's just jump in somewhere in the middle. Oh no, I didn't want this one. This is the yeah. Yeah.
So the next one is tutorial design. So how well they introduce each of those different mechanics.
Yeah.
So again, just going straight into the mark scheme, a good would be mostly integrated tutorial, communicates most of the goals, risks, and rewards through level design, and introduces information and mechanics in a logical way that fits with what has gone on before.
So, I mean, they do a good job. There's one or two missteps. So they have the portals down the side at the beginning. They introduce the red portal when they don't need it. But other than that,
otherwise,
they do a really nice job. And they have simple text on the screen to explain what to do. It's not overly verbose. Damn. Yeah, it's So I think that it's pretty good. I mean, so what would good be for the tutorial?
So that would be good. A mostly integrated tutorial communicating most goals, risks, rewards through level design. And introducing information in a logical way that fits with what's gone before.
It feels better than that. What does what's
excellent would be an integrated tutorial that communicates the goals, risks, and rewards through level design, and introduces information and mechanics in a logical way that builds on what's gone before.
Yeah, I think it's probably
particularly with the different combinations of portals, it feels like it hits that.
I think so. Yeah, it's very nicely done.
Aspect is looking at sort of some of the design elements. So the core dynamic. So what do you think they said for core dynamic?
So it must be spatial reasoning.
Absolutely it is, yes.
Thank God for that, yeah.
So they've definitely understood what the dynamic is. And they said to emphasize this, there's no time limit. The platforming aspect is relatively straightforward, leaving the emphasis of the game on deducing where the portals need to be in order to reach the exit.
Yeah.
And bang on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, looking at the mark scheme, a good would be clear core dynamic that suits the theme of the game and is well supported by the primary mechanics and mostly appropriate audio-visual choices.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's pretty easily there.
I think so. Yes.
So a step above that would be a clear core dynamic, suits the theme of the game, and is well supported by an integrated set of mechanics and appropriate audio-visual choices.
It hits that too. I'd say they're integrated really nicely together.
Okay, so again, for the sake of argument, a prizeworthy core dynamic would be a clear core dynamic that suits the theme of the game and that is entirely supported by a well-integrated set of mechanics and resonant audio-visual choices.
So I think the problem they've got is the resonant audio-visual choices. It's kind of they're almost there. Like the fact that they've got whiz, it's portals, kind of all the background, but it just doesn't have the pizzazz that I'd expect perhaps for a prizeworthy.
Yeah, so like something that's truly prizeworthy. But even so, I think this is an excellent core dynamic.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, and lastly is the feedback that they were given during the lab sessions. So let me bring that up. I mentioned this earlier. So the feedback they got was to reduce the difficulty of the platforming, to sort of emphasize the spatial reasoning of the puzzles.
Yep.
people were frustrated when they successfully solved the level, but then had to restart because they missed a jump at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, positive change there.
I definitely think so. Yeah. You saw us still struggling with it, so yeah.
So another piece of feedback they were given was that it might be difficult to figure out exactly how each of the different portal mechanics work and how to properly place them. So they tried to integrate the different mechanics gradually through the tutorial so that the user isn't overwhelmed, and they made it as clear as possible exactly how they should place portals when they first start using them.
That works too, I think.
Yeah, and the last piece of feedback they got was there was no way to restart a level if they'd placed a portal and got it wrong, so they introduced that.
Also effective. All right, so all three of those seem like sensible things that they've understood and implemented. So what would good be for feedback?
So good would be feedback was articulated, reasonable changes have been successfully made.
So I think definitely hits that.
Yep, so excellent would be feedback was clearly articulated, interpreted, and reasonable changes have been successfully made. And again, it's sort of that, it hinges on that interpretation, so not just sort of doing exactly what they were told, but sort of building on it.
Yes. So what did they actually say?
I more or less read it out verbatim.
So yeah, but I was trying to solve a puzzle. So yeah,
of course,
so,
right.
so let me ask it a different way. How do you think it fits?
So yeah, so as an example, when they're talking about the platforming and things like that, so they talk about to solve it, they reduce the emphasis on the platforming so that outside of the first few, you can complete almost every level without any jumping. Yeah, I'm trying to think how else you could have interpreted that.
So I think, yeah, I mean, going back to what you said, so the things they mentioned were simplifying the jumping, being clear about the puzzle, about the portals, and building up what they did. So I think you could argue that they've interpreted the portal placement into the tutorial nicely.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a good job. But perhaps they haven't got up to the excellent level. So maybe halfway between good and excellent.
Yeah, I think that's what I would say as well.
Yeah. Okay. But really nice example of a puzzle game. Really nicely done. I think that's our last game, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. In that case, we will see you again in another video. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.